Welcome back. So, in our continuing look at this year's draft class, we're up to the number 3 spot. I'm thinking Columbus, Leo Carlsson. Now, Leo Carlsson, center slash left wing. There's some debate about whether or not he's going to be a center at the NHL level. If Columbus drafts him, I would think they keep him in the middle because you got Gaudreau on one side, Laine on the other, and arguably Carlson should be down the middle of that line, and that would be dynamic. Based on Carlson being 6 foot, 394 pounds, and projecting as a power forward at the NHL level, he could make room for both Gaudreau and Laine on the ice and help improve their production and really give Columbus that first line center they've been seeking for so long. It feels like it's been forever. We've talked about Columbus needing a first line center. Carlson could be that guy. Now, hockeyprospect.com actually has Leo Carlson at number 2. One thing I overlooked yesterday was that Adam Fantilli is number 2 or 3 on every list, except Hockey Prospect. They actually have him at number 4. Elite Prospects has Leo Carlson at number 3. We'll get into the draft lists and where everybody is as we get further into the draft class because you get more divergence. But the one thing that hangs over this pick, because I've seen a lot of debate, is Matvei Michkov. And a lot of people saying, hey, you can't pass on Michkov. Michkov should go at 3 because he's very talented forward. And he is. He's also under KHL contract until 2026. So anybody who drafts Michkov has to wait 3 years minimum. Remember, there's no reason to think that he necessarily comes over. Like, he should play in the NHL in 2026. But what if he says, I'm going to stay in the KHL? Now, he said he wants to play in the NHL at some point. I have no reason to think that he won't. But that uncertainty, I think, will cause Michkov to fall. I don't know how far. A team that picks him up is going to have to be one that can afford to wait. And I don't know that Columbus can. I think if Jarmo Kekalainen takes somebody who's not even going to play in the NHL for a minimum of the next 3 years, there's the possibility that Kekalainen's not the GM anymore by the time he makes his debut in the NHL. So for Carlson, playing for Orebro, now this is SHL, this is top tier. Last year, 35 games, 3 goals, 6 assists, 9 points. This year, 44 games, 10 goals, 15 assists, 25 points. Excelling in this league at that age in your draft year is very rare. The SHL is a men's league, and he did quite well. At the World Juniors in 7 games, 3 goals, 3 assists, 6 points for Sweden. And so Carlson looks pretty ready, although there's some debate about whether or not he'd come over and play this year or next year. He may be a year away from making his debut in the NHL. Now, notes from scouts, he's seen as an excellent puck handler and good hockey IQ. He sees the ice really well. Good decision-making, smart player, prominent even when he's not on the scoreboard. So he's one of those guys that if he doesn't get a goal for you, it's fine because he's doing all the board work. He's a good forechecker. He's tenacious on the puck. And so he's still prominent even if he's not getting the goals and the points. How many players are there in the NHL that when they're not scoring, we may say after the game, did he play? And we're not saying it from a sarcastic point. It's just we don't really realize, or we may not have seen much of him on the ice, right? Carlson's not one of those guys. So I think he'll be a very popular player with fans. He is a pass-first type of player, which if you're playing with Laine, that works pretty well. Laine likes to score goals. Laine, in the right situation, could absolutely still be a 50-goal scorer in the NHL. Notice I'm saying in the right situation. It all depends on good health, too. But he could. I mean, Laine has the talent to be a 50-goal scorer. And if they draft Carlson, he may be that center that brings him there. Now, he's seen as a good, not great skater. So one thing that may cause him to lose out if he's seen as being really close to others in this draft class might be on the skating side. But from what I've read, the skating is good. And the intelligence he has on the ice and the power forward part of his game mean that it might be easier to overlook the fact he doesn't have that explosive speed that, say, Bedard has at the top of this draft or Fantilli has as well. The skating is good. But we may very well hear about, well, the skating put this team off or that team off. But I don't think it's going to do that with Columbus. I think they end up taking him. He could be a number 1 center in the NHL. That's seen as his ceiling. Again, this is a very good deep draft class. We're up to number 3, and still with Carlson, it feels like this guy would be generating the hype around number 1, if not for the fact this is the Bedard Fantilli draft, right? So I think Columbus would get themselves a pretty good player. One thing I've said about Columbus the whole way through, even though they had an awful season, with some good health and with the right moves this summer, they can get right back into the hunt. They may be a surprise team next year, again, with the right moves being made. And so for Carlson, he's pretty close to NHL ready. We'll see. It's really hard to predict with draft classes who's going to make that debut and who isn't. I remember 3 years ago trying to come through and say, okay, well, this guy should and this guy won't. And just, it's so hard to tell. There will always be guys who are late in a draft, the first round, who may very well make it out of camp. And then there's guys who are at or near the top of a draft class who may end up not making it right out of the gate. And of course, there's always going to be clearly the guy's a bust crowd. And yeah, they will say that of pretty much any prospect. Because if you say it about every prospect, then you're going to be right about some of them. And you just forget about the ones you're not right about. But yeah, Carlson, I think, could generate a lot of excitement in Columbus. I know there's disappointment about them falling in the draft lottery to number 3. But I don't know if you're getting a worse player with Carlson necessarily than Fantilli. And I don't know if they're drafting at number 2 if they wouldn't draft Carlson anyways, because he may be exactly what they need. That power forward, that number 1 center. And again, 6'3", 194. He's already, got that NHL projectable size, and he's already been playing against men. There's not that uncertainty about how he's going to do against men. He has excelled against men to this point in his career. So, where does Carlson go in this draft? Does he go at 3? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.